Still going strongly in the closing minutes. Great run by Kevin McAllister! What a goal that is! Delivery's good, there's Hagan. Now McGrillen, he scored!
It's Stokes on a hat-trick! Goal number 3 for Anthony Stokes!
Ralston saw off Robertson and delivered! Sybil scores! That's the goal! That's the moment! Samuel off and running again. Is it going to be the hat-trick? You know it is.
This is Falkirk Daft.
Welcome to Falkirk Daft. It's your unofficial podcast dedicated to everything to do with the mighty Falkirk Bairns. I am your host, John McInally, and let's start with another song this week, Ross. Oliver, Oliver, how did you miss that glaring chance? Are you a fan of the musicals?
Love it. And yeah, it's a very apt one this week.
Oh, we'll get into the game, but I just so frustrated. If Oliver had scored that chance, we would have coasted that game. Dunfermline dropping points, us dropping points, not good, but we will talk about the Airdrie game a bit later on the show with our guest pundit Jack, who will be joining us on the podcast. How are you feeling after the weekend, Ross Wayne? You were in hospitality once. By the way, how many hospitality once again? Lapping up the prawn sandwiches. You were in the Totten box, I believe, this time round, enjoying
there was no
bar this time as well.
Yeah, there was that was the big difference, was the all-inclusive bar this weekend. I know it was a good laugh with the boys. Obviously, unfortunately, you weren't able to get along this time, but it was messy, John, if I'm being honest. It
sounds like you went to every pub in Falkirk.
Every pub that would let us in. But it was it was messy. It was really good though. Result aside, as always. Do you know what? We drew, so it wasn't the worst. Like, it could have been worse if we'd been beaten or scalped or something. That would have made the night a bit sour. But great to see. Hospitality lounges were all full again on Saturday. I know. I think I've said that about 3 times in the last month. After this week, I've nothing else booked for the rest of the year. I'll be back with the boys from a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, good. Ross, sponsors. We've got a sponsor on this week's show. This was a sponsor we donated to the Bairns Business Club as part of the raffle, and the lucky, or maybe unlucky in their case, that it got picked out. Thanks very much. So this week's sponsor, it is Donoghue and Company. Big Falkirk supporters, big Falkirk fans over at the accountants, and they just want to say, remember, and this is for anyone that's self-employed, the self-assessment deadline is fast approaching, right? You need to get into your I know so many people that are self-employed that leave it to the last minute, but this is your warning right now. The assessment deadline is fast approaching, and anyone still needing to prepare and submit their personal tax return, Donoghue and Company can help you with that. They've got a great service, competitive prices, and they're definitely the accountants to go to. They provide all accounting services from limited company accounts, tax, payroll, VAT, and bookkeeping, right? So if you've not done your self-assessment yet and you need a hand with it, give Alan a shout. He's going to sort you out. Give him a call, 01324 411 809. That's 01324 411 809. You can drop Alan an email as well. Alan at Donoghue, which is spelled DONOGHUE -co.com. And you'll get them on their website, donoghue-co.com. All the links are in the bio below to get you sorted out. But yeah, get in touch with Alan over at Donoghue and Company and get your self-assessment done, because there's nothing more stressful. And I know it just comes to the end, you go, oh no, I've not done it yet, and you're trying to get receipts from everywhere and all that. So Alan's going to sort you over at Donoghue-co.com, and then we're delighted to have them as sponsors on this week's Falkirk Daft. So thanks a lot to the guys over there. Ross, we put our merch on sale. We've got a new design up as well.
We have. It seems to be, actually, we're not just saying this as well, it actually seems to be flying off the shelves, which is amazing. Loads of good, we got notifications of loads of good sales over the weekend too, probably Christmas related. But yeah, we've got our Highlander logo there with the beer and the jester hat, and or you can have the Falkirk Daft logo that you can see, or if you're watching the YouTube version, you can see it on the screen as well. So
yeah, and
loads of good stuff.
A few people even at the game on Saturday tweeting us and saying that they've got their merch, wearing it with pride at the weekend there, and I've seen a few pictures online of early Christmas presents getting dished out, Falkirk Daft hoodies and the like. You can get it all over at our merch stall, and you'll get that at shop.spreadshirt.co.uk/Falkirk-Daft. That's shop.spreadshirt.co.uk/Falkirk-Daft. The links are below as well. Loads of good merch. Some random people have been buying the beer mugs, which I really like as well. And then we've got coasters, baby wear, aprons, the full shebang. You can get it all. So check that out if you're looking for some Christmas present for the loved one and Falkirk supporter in your life. There you go. That's the ad done. Last week we were on the show when basically just before the Scottish Cup draw was made. We recorded this, Ross. So thoughts on Alloa away?
It's not the sexiest of draws, but it's a winnable tie that we know we can beat Alloa. We know we can also get beat off Alloa, but it's a good chance to progress. It'll be a decent away day. Alloa's usually pretty good. We take a big crowd through there. Hopefully the trains aren't on strike because that'll be a bollock. But yeah, Alloa's not. It's not the worst. It's not the best. Get through it and then see who we can get. But I think it's a really, really winnable draw.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just. I guess it's get through this tie. I'd rather not have played someone that's in League One because you just play that. We've got Alloa obviously in a couple of weeks' time, and then it's like I say, we train through Alloa, decent day we day out, and we've generally got a good record at the Rex as well.
Yep.
So. Hopefully get through this tie and hopefully meet someone. But again, Alloa are no slouches, and we know on their day under Ricey they can certainly turn over teams. I've seen some of the results Alloa have had, and they're on a decent run of form up until recently as well. No,
they do, and they'll be up for it. As you said, Ricey, you know what Ricey's like. He's a competitor, and he'll make sure they're up for it. It's a cup tie. He'll maybe approach it slightly different from a league game as well. So, like, granted, the last time we played them, what was it, mid-October through at our place, it was pretty comfortable, but you never know.
Yeah, exactly. Last week we were talking about headers on the show. Remember, obviously the SFA had banned heading before match days, and we were talking could that be the end of headers in the game? And we're talking about the best headers. Someone's been in touch. I've not got the name in front of me, but he says the best header for Falkirk has to be McGrillen versus Celtic in the 1997 Scottish Cup semi-final.
To be fair, maybe not the best header ever, but one of the most important. Absolutely. Although it was a sexy wee header actually.
We didn't cover Stuart Kerr. Yeah, no, it was good. That's cracking. If you want to add to that, think of those glorious headed goals that Falkirk have scored. Keep in touch, get us on the Twitter and on the Facebook. Shout out as well to everyone that's got in touch. Spotify Unwrapped out. Ross, what were your top? Have you checked out your Spotify Unwrapped? I'm intrigued.
I don't know whether I'm too old school or not. I don't actually use Spotify, so
you still put on a CD, do you?
Nah, tapes. No,
still got it to sleeves. Ross has still got it to sleeves up the town and buying CDs.
No, I use the Apple Podcast, and I've no idea whether they do a version of that. But so when I saw people were tagging us in, I wasn't really sure what this was all about. But it's great to see a few people, more than a few actually, had us as their number one podcast that they've listened to. So amazing. Yeah. So
if you have, please send us a picture. It helps our ego. Colin Blackadder and Karen Taylor, they grabbed a screen grab, and we are the number one podcast. So thanks very much for listening. The thing about Spotify Unwrapped, now I have a family account, and I share with the kids jump on my account now as well. I've tried to, I don't know for the life of me, I tried to bloody work out how they can get it individually, and I can't sort it out. But anyway, I've got like my number one top song this year is something I've never even heard of. So it's like, Gang of Youths is up there. It's one of my favourite bands, but it's like Oliver Tree. I mean, who's Oliver Tree? It's been listened to about, I don't know, hundreds of times. Obviously, it's either my wee boy, my wee girl, listen to Oliver Tree. But so that's annoying when that happens. But yes, thank you very much for everyone that's tagged us in, saying that Falkirk Daft is our #1 podcast this year. Thank you very much. There we go. Right, another bit of correspondence we've had this week. We put this up on our Twitter. It was from the SPFL official account now, and it was at dbuicks22. It was on Twitter. He's a Dunfermline supporter, and he put up his Dunfermline ultimate five-a-side team, right? Now, I was like, surely no. It
looked pretty shit, to be honest.
Paul Gallagher, Callum Woods, Martin Hardy, Joe Cardo, and Kevin Nisbet. Right, now, Kevin Nisbet played about not many games for them, but I'm just like, that's a bit mental. But then somebody pointed out it's only from 2007 onwards.
Still, though, like, the only list Joe Cardo should be on is top annoying wee shites.
But I was like, but I did message my Dunfermline supporting friend Stephen, going, is this the best you've actually got? And he said, no, boys talking shite. But we put it out there saying, right, what team could match that? Few people got in touch with us. Dougie, McGovern, Yogi, Scott McKenzie, Will Vokes, and Anthony Stokes. Well, it's not past 2007, but listen, ultimate five-a-sides team. You got another one there, Ross?
Yeah, I see Craig saying Casper Schmeichel, Big Dan Dodds, Latape, Volks, and Stokes is mentioned there as well. The
only thing I would say about Dan Dodds in a five-a-side team, he's not exactly massively mobile. You want a mobile ball-playing centre-half.
Yeah, I would, if it was me, I'd probably have somebody like maybe Davy Weir in there.
Well, Russell's this is a good five-a-side team. Michael McGovern, Afghi's, he would be good in the fives game. Arnaud Riera would be brilliant at fives because no one can get the ball off him. Latape and Stokes, that is, by the way, an absolute belter of a fives team. He said having a Falkirk fives team without Arnaud is just wrong. Boy would literally never give the ball away.
But yeah, between him and Russell, because Russell barely lost it either. So you could just park Anthony Stokes just beside the D. Yeah. Wait for the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah. Stuart says Ferguson, so Alan Ferguson, I assume Mark Kerr, Latape, Crunchy, and Stokes is there in there again.
Aye, Crunchy, obviously at fives would be brilliant as well. Just be up and down that line.
I remember Crunchy playing for Falkirk at the 10 and 6s back in the day.
Back to 10 and 6s, special. Man. They should have brought that, with the World Cup being on, they should have brought back the 10 and 6s. This was the prime opportunity to do it.
I would love that, John. I would absolutely love that.
The World Cup's on, they should have brought it back. Winter World Cup, mid-season break, bring back the 10 and 6s, man. At the Hydro, it would have been brilliant. Graham said the boy only did from 2000, so it was 7. So this was Graham that pointed this out. Even so, McGovern, Lay, Vokes, Latape, El Agui, and Sibs. Then he's got, as a second team, he's got Arfield, Lyle, Appies, and Danny Mallow.
Danny Mallow, that's a good shout for a keeper.
He'd be a good fives keeper. Yeah, definitely good fives keeper.
Scott says Schmeichel again, Davy Weir, who I just mentioned, Latape, Crunchy, and obviously the final member of the Holy Trinity, Mr. Simon Stainrod. There
you go. It was actually SPFL reached out to a Falkirk supporter on this, Colin Cunningham, who I think does a lot of work with the SPFL and is kind of the Falkirk man to go to. And looking at his Twitter profile and stuff, Colin does as a reporter and stuff. So he went for Danny Mallow, Arnaud Riera, Alyssa Latape, Ken McAllister, and Anthony Stokes. You can't really argue with that, and that would absolutely pump that Dunfermline team.
It would.
It'd be like one of those games of fives where it's like, we swap the teams at half time. You know, when you get those games where you're getting pumped by 10 goals.
Falkirk will play any man.
Aye, pretty much. But and as a result of all this, Ross, I got into an argument with Dunfermline fan 2 on Twitter, who is claiming that Istvan Kozma is a better player than Russell Latape. I have never heard more rubbish than all my life. Granted, Istvan Kozma, Hungarian international, did very well for Dunfermline. However, when I looked into his, he's generally regarded as one of the worst Premier League signings in history.
Yeah. When
he signed for Liverpool. And he's going, he played for Liverpool in the Premier League. I'm like, Russell Latape played at a World Cup at the age of 36.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Jesus. Yeah. So, bollocks. I'm calling bollocks on that.
probably smacked at his tits on drugs. This Dunfermline fan, John, if I'm being honest. So.
Brilliant. That is the voice of Ross Wayne there. If you're looking for anyone to sue, that is Ross. Talking about see the big fight at Hearts yesterday in the
I've not seen it, but I read about it on Twitter.
Oh my, what a Tarami.
I love that. It's a mid-season friendly.
Mid-season friendly against Almeria in Spain, and an absolute Rami, which lead me to the question, maybe it's one for future big questions. What's the best Rami you've seen at a Falkirk game?
Well, there's two in my head, John, so players-wise, you couldn't go far wrong with. Remember Albert Craig?
And Gareth Evans.
I couldn't have told you his name, but there you go.
Running down the. I remember that day at Brockville so vividly because when he was like Gareth Evans trotted off the park because they both got red cards because they had a bit of an on-pitch fracas, and then he was just trotting away, and then he got to the tunnel and you saw Albie getting his red card and then basically sprinting towards the tunnel, and I was like, there's something going to kick off here, and he was.
He got him back in the head, didn't he?
First time that video evidence was ever used in Scottish football, by the way.
So we were the first members of the VAR then, were we?
Well, first time it was used to obviously for a red card, a further suspension. First time video evidence was used because obviously Scottish Sport zoomed in on the tunnel and watched Albie battering Gareth Evans.
Bloody Jerry McNee, dick.
I love Big Albie.
But that was from a playing perspective, probably that one. But do you not remember what year would that have been? Maybe 2008 or something like that. Falkirk were doing one of their Dutch tours, and we played. I think it was like a Turkish team, but we're playing it in the town of Dwinglu, and it's like the videos are still on YouTube. I think it's in the Battle of Dwinglu, and it was just all kicked off. I think it was a bunch of Falkirk fans, some Turkish keeper, and it all just kicked off, and they were all battering hell at each other. So that's on YouTube. Then I'll give it a
Let's look that out.
Give it a check later on. But the Battle of Dwinglu.
That Battle of Dwinglu?
And the game got abandoned.
Amazing. I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm gonna have to chat. Another thing that happened at the weekend there, Ross, is Jamie Sneddon. I don't know if you've seen the goal, but Partick Thistle's goalkeeper Jamie Sneddon comes up last minute, fifth minute of injury time, and scores the equaliser for Partick Thistle up at Cove there. Ball comes in, great header for the keeper. Yeah. I heard this interview after, he said, I had no idea what was going on. It was like an out-of-body experience. He just headed it. He said,
these things never happen either, do they? These things never happen.
I know, big pile on the keeper. And I was just going, I'm trying to think, have you ever known a Falkirk keeper to score a goal? I don't think it's happened. I don't think it's happened, but I might be wrong.
No, I can't. Other than a penalty shootout where a keeper's had to take one, I can't think of one in open play. I can't think of one. There must be at some point. I can't
think of a goalkeeper having to score a penalty shootout.
I remember. There was one, John. I'm going back though. Late 90s, we were playing Stranraer in the Challenge Cup down there, and it ended like 11-12 or something like that. And whoever our keeper was, I'm sure had to take a penalty. I think they scored. I can't for the life of me remember who missed, but I am sure the keeper scored, but it doesn't happen that often.
Someone will let us know. But a couple of wee bits of food for thought there. Falkirk goalkeepers that have scored, and what's the best Falkirk Rami you've seen? Get in touch on the socials. I'd love to hear your opinions on that. What's happening at the club? Well, all the while, one player of the month, 40% of the vote going to him. Obviously, Ola had a really decent month there, coming in, making, obviously against Edinburgh and the likes, did really, really well. So 40%. I always still feel sorry for the defenders in this because everyone goes for the goal scoring midfielders or strikers, when I think Cole Donaldson and Leon McCann, yet again, were definitely deserved, and especially Leon with that goal this month. He
did very well with that. I think I voted for Cole, actually, now that I think about it. I think I did vote for Cole, but you're right. It's the attacker and players usually get the awards and stuff, don't they?
I know. So I feel sorry for Big Cole and Leon as well. Sponsor Step is now available for the Ken McAllister stand. Again, this is just a drive, I guess. We'll talk about that a bit more, of just getting money into the club. You can get one for 50 quid, and that secures your step for the next 5 years. Decent Christmas present, it's just great to be part of the stadium and a part of the club, if you've not been on the bricks outside the stadium.
Well, when you look at how many have been sold in the main stand over the last 2 or 3 years, that's brilliant. So if we can replicate that in the south stand, and probably a lot of Falkirk fans who've sat in the south stand maybe didn't want to do it in the main stand because they don't sit there. So actually, you might get. You imagine if you sold like 1,000 of them, that would be amazing.
Is there 1,000 steps in the south stand?
I don't know. Now that you've said it, I don't know.
I don't know if that is.
It's one to check out. I don't know.
I think there's about 1,000 in the San Siro. There's maybe about 1,000 steps. You can do the counting on the weekend.
Listen, right? I'm going to be that guy tonight. I'm going to check.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, how many? Well, wait there now. How many rows?
Right, you just do right. You do the mass carnival.
I'll come back to you. I bet there won't be 1,000, but I'll check to see how many there was.
Right, okay, Carol in the corner. You can do the mass. By the end of the show, we'll give you the countdown clock, and you can see if you can do it. All right. Shout out to the Falkirk women. Beat Edinburgh Caledonia 5-1, and then they got a draw against Stennismuir 0-0. So the Falkirk women going well in the league. So fingers crossed they can keep it going. Yep. Also, we need to put a mention to the Falkirk Foundation, who are supporting those that need this winter. At the Dundee game, you might have seen them outside the Airdrie game as well. They're looking for donations, and you can drop stuff off in front of the stadium to them. They're looking for, food, toys, clothing, all that sort of stuff. Any small toys which in good condition can be handed over as well. It should be Christmas gifts. So match day donations can be made at the turnstiles and out of the main stand and also the south stand. If you can take some along to the Dundee game this Thursday and donate to the Falkirk Foundation, they'll make sure it ends up in good hands. Now, the other news that's causing a bit of a stir on social media this week, it's probably the big thing this week, is the announcement of the 10-year season ticket, Ross. 25 of these available, $5,000 a pop. I don't see the fuss because other supporters from other clubs have picked up on this and they're very much, Falkirk going to administration, because this is something similar to what Dunfermline did before they went into administration. So immediately Airdrie and Dunfermline and the likes are, getting stuck in.
Yeah.
For me, I don't think it is, because this certainly is an initiative. When the Falkirk were looking for supporters to come up with ideas, and this is an initiative my brother actually took to the club, right. And for that it just doesn't add up, because my brother took the initiative to the club went, that's a great idea, why don't we do that? It might plug the gap, because we all know there's a gap there to plug financially. So if this is $125,000 easy win, why not do it? I don't think it sends warning signals that we're going into administration.
No, I don't either, John. See, if it was like 250 rather than 25, I could understand the panic maybe, but it's 25. We're not going to miss 25 season tickets over every summer the next 10 years. It's a once in a blue moon type opportunity. It's probably a great deal for some. It's not going to be for everybody. Personally, it's not for me, but if someone looks at the benefits that you can get for it and they've got the cash and they want to do it, brilliant. And as you say, it brings in a really easy $125,000 in, which probably or may fill this full gap that we've got. The rumour on Saturday was that the club were almost there to fill that. So that's brilliant news if that's the case. And this just helps us on that way.
Yeah, I don't think there's any, but obviously all supporters have seen this and they're just like, look at Falkirk, look what they're up to. I don't think there's anything.
Listen, Dunfermline were in a real bad way, and I don't know if they limited it back then to their numbers either, but they were in a real, real bad way. We're nowhere near where they were. No. And do you know what? If this helps us get through this situation, we desperately want to get out of this league this year, and if we can do that, there's obviously more money in the championship, and we can kind of take it for there as well.
Yeah, we'll see what comes out of the AGM in January, because then it's all out there anyway, so we'll wait and see what happens then. Yeah. Right, okay, let's get into the Airdrie game if we must. So every week on Falkirk Daft, we like to welcome a guest pundit onto the show. We know him as Young Jack, but please welcome to Falkirk Daft, it's Jack Thomson.
Hi guys, how we doing? All right?
Good.
Good, mate. Good. Jack, we ask everyone that comes on, what's your Bairn story? How did you get into Falkirk?
So my dad's Falkirk born and bred, and growing up, when your dad's from Falkirk, you only got one team to support. So that was passed on down to me, and here I am, Falkirk home and away. So
Brilliant.
Nice. And who's your favourite player? You're younger, Jack, so out with the Holy Trinity, which you would have probably saw a bit of that, would you have?
in my very early days, but yeah, not enough of them. In the current squad, I'd say Leon McCann, but in my time watching Falkirk, Will Vaux is number one for me.
It's for the young team, it is Will Vaux, isn't it? You just keep forgetting how good Will Vaux
is. To be.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we talk about Saturday then? Well, we Falkirk 1, Airdrie 1. 4 changes for the Bairns. Lowell, Henderson, McGuffey and Hetherington went out of the side. In came the returning Cal Morrison, Sean Mackey, Gary Oliver and Aidan Nesbitt back in off the bench. Right, where do we start with this one, guys? Where do we start with this one? Ross, do you want to take the floor?
Yeah, I think I was a wee bit shocked with the changes, to be honest. I don't think Lowell had done anything wrong to get moved out, to be honest, and we missed him, I think. Gary Oliver, horrific miss aside, was fairly anonymous on Saturday. I know he scored 2 goals the week before, but we were playing Wick. No disrespect to them. I don't know if I would have dicked about with the squad, the starting 11 as much as we did.
Yeah, I mean, Nesbitt was always going to find his way back into the side because we know he's a favourite of John McGlynn's. Cal Morrison was probably going to come back in as well. Henderson, obviously, out. Believe it's a fractured rib.
I think so.
Henderson had, and Gary Oliver, obviously, got the 2 goals. So you can understand why the changes were made. And I think Lowell, I don't know. Again, I wouldn't have played Lowell last Saturday because it's not that pitch and those conditions are not his kind of game and don't suit his game. So, yeah, but he made a difference when he came on, certainly. But we'll talk about that a bit later on. Let's kick off. Let's start right at the start. Big penalty claim straight away. John McGlynn, who we'll hear from in a bit, said if that had been later on in the game, we think he would have got a penalty. We saw another penalty incident, which we'll get to as well. But it looked, again, the foul on Burrell in the box, it did, with the keeper, it did look like a penalty. And I just don't understand why we're not getting penalties in this league.
Yeah, I think McGlynn's right. If it is later in the game, the sort of same incident, I think it does get given. But I mean, watching the highlights, I've watched it a good 3 or 4 times. It's really difficult to tell from the main stand perspective. But compared to the one in Allegria, it's ridiculous. And even the push on Burrell, I think it's maybe 15, 20 minutes in on the left hand side. I mean, it's as easy a push you're going to see.
Yeah, and I mean, they go up, obviously, after the penalty claim. It was a good save from Nicky, but they break up the field, and it was a really good save from Nicky to stop it going 1-0 to them. I mean, that first 20 minutes, I guess, I'm trying to think, and we were talking about this in the game, I think that's the first time Mackey and Donaldson have played alongside each other at centre-half. Because Donaldson was injured earlier on in the season, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's a good shout, John. I wouldn't have thought about that. Yeah, it probably was. I thought the two of them did okay in the most.
First 20 minutes they were a bit shaky. I thought it was a wee bit shaking Stevens in the first 20 minutes, but they settled into the game. We're talking again, big call, stepping up with a free kick, passing out. Remember everyone just, who does that defender think he is? Koeman. I just reminded of that chat with Big Cole stepping up for a free kick, and you know how much I love Big Cole, Stan. When he scores that free kick this season, I'm going to go mental. Love Big Cole, Stan.
He will get one. He'll score at least one.
I know, but it was, it was shaky start, but we seemed to be a bit in control. I mean, the goal came. We looked in control. Great ball from Donaldson to find Kai Kennedy. Great first touch, and what a finish.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, brilliant. Best goal I've seen this season, I would say.
Really?
Do you know, it's a good shout. There's been a few decent ones, but that's got to be up there.
You can't. I'm not having that. Do you know what? In saying that, we have got a lot of goal of the season contenders, but I'm not having it. That's better goal than Leon McCann's. I'm not having.
Well, listen, it's a different type of goal.
I don't know. Yeah, totally different.
I would even go as far as saying Morrison's against Clyde, where it was the in the kind of half volley when he needed it and then half volleyed it, and I would say,
John, if you're talking about Koeman, that was the Dutch striker. What was his name again? Van Basten. That was Van Basten.
Oh my God, you can't even compare to that. Jesus Christ. But no, it was a really good goal from Kai Kennedy, and certainly deserved his man of the match, because he was, I thought, certainly his best game in a Falkirk jersey.
Yeah. No, absolutely. What sure. Belter of a strike. Belter of a strike.
He's obviously got that quality in him. It's just taken him a little bit too long to get that good game for us. But hopefully now he kicks on and does the same again in the next couple of weeks at least.
Yeah, I like seeing Sean Mackey back in the side. The boy loves a tackle. I love a defender that loves a tackle. In fact, I was really, this was pointed out to me by our good friend Fraser Bloy, that if you type in Falkirk into GIFs, the first thing that comes up is that Sean Mackey tackle against Hibs.
Oh, is it?
There's that Sean Mackey has his own GIF.
Love it.
So, but no, I like Sean back in that side. Obviously, I don't think defensively, we'll get to the Airdrie goal in a minute, but I thought defensively Donaldson and Mackey looked a really good pair, and apart from that first 20 minutes where we were a wee bit shaky, I thought they really settled into a game and potentially could be a pairing going forward.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not against it at all. I mean, I'm actually quite glad to see Henderson dropped. I think he's been really poor the last couple of weeks, and I mean, he's arguably a player whose position was sort of supposed to be nailed on this season, but it's good that McGlynn's not afraid to drop him, I think. And as I say, I'm not against Mackey playing with Donaldson at all.
Again, Burrow started instead of Allegria. Now, I'm not against it. I think Burrow and Allegria offer as strikers two very different things. My one thing with Burrow is movement is fantastic. See his movement off the ball and how he gets into spaces. My one criticism is he doesn't take the chances that come to him. There was that great bit of link-up play, and then with Morrison and him out on the right, and then Burrow got himself into the middle, header hit the side net, and there's just a few occasions, you just think, his movement's great. It's just, there was the chance as well, which came to him later on, where it was a bad first touch from him, and, it just kind of rolled into the keeper's arms as well. But should he be getting more goals?
I think he needs a strike partner. I know this was done to death on Saturday night as well, but we're at home. We're not giving them enough problems. And I know people say it's no one up front because you've got the guys coming in for the side. But at times, our forward is just alienated. And I think play Burrow, play Allegria, and let's have a bloody go.
Yeah, I would certainly not be against having a two up front, because I think they're two I think it's a partnership, and I'm talking old school 4-4-2 here, which we know is not the way that John McGunn plays. We know it's not the way that modern football works, but having a striking partnership, two strikers who offer very, very different, Allegria, great, was back to goal, holding the ball up, turning, Burrow, great in behind, great movement. You just think it's a two. Would that I could see that as a strike partnership.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I don't know if he'll change it.
He is going to, John, see, going back to it though, he is going to have to, like, he remember what game was it? There was a couple of games. The Celtic game was the first time he went with the two up because he had to play about it at half time because it didn't go well. Sometimes we're just going to have to mix it up, and the fancy football, the football on the deck, and I'm not saying we'd resort to pumping it long, but we're not giving defences enough to think about. We're really, really not. Yeah.
I mean, credit to Airdrie, unlike Edinburgh and unlike Dunfermline, they came out to play a game, and they had their chances, they had their chances. The one that was the shot that just bounced in front of the post and went out. They gave Falkirk a decent enough game, but were they worth the draw, do you think?
I think it's 2 points dropped, to be totally honest with you. At home, as you say, against a team that are maybe 3-4 places below us in the league. Don't get me wrong, since we've been in this league, Airdrie have had the better of us, that's without doubt. But yeah, it's definitely 2 points dropped.
I think the 2 points dropped probably comes from, we'll get to it now, Gary Oliver's miss. when we were breaking forward at that point, he had Morrison to his right as well, he had the option. And I don't know if you guys, but I was screaming, knock the ball into Morrison when he got it, because Morrison
I was as well.
But Gary Oliver did really well. He took it round the man, and you think it's a goal. You think it's a goal, and then it was just a bit of shock. I don't know what it was like for you guys, but I was just in. Did he just miss that?
I know.
Yeah.
I'd love to know how close it actually was, because obviously I've not really had time to watch the highlights too much, but at the time I just remember thinking, how the hell has he missed that gap?
Yeah. I mean, he could have rolled it anywhere.
Yeah,
He went for power, obviously. And it was, because that goes in, we're home and dry. We're We're up the road with 3 points. We've got 5 points. We've closed the gap in Dunfermline back to 5. And then it's just, and that's the frustrating thing. It's the frustration of Falkirk this season, is that inability, the chances we create, and it's the inability to put them away. And it's just so frustrating. I think we all agree it's night and day compared to the last few seasons, the style of play, how we're playing. But it's just that frustration, and that's going to be our downfall this season if it doesn't change. Yeah,
for sure. I think if you look at the league table, like in terms of goals scored, I think it is only maybe Alloa that have actually scored more goals than us, especially at home. But you're right, it's every week it feels like there's 2 or 3 golden chances that you do expect to be put in the back of the net, and it's just for Gary Oliver, someone who's played number 9 most of his career, as you say, why he doesn't just pick a corner and pass it into the net. He's got all the time in the world. So don't Jack, I don't know if you'll disagree or agree, but he wasn't the only one on Saturday to be wasteful. Like Burrow was wasteful, McGinn, and I know McGinn's not a forward, but he had 2 glaring chances that he should have probably scored from. But that Oliver one, you did expect far, far better from what felt at the time. Sure. Again, I've not watched it back. It felt like he had a fair chunk of the goal.
He did. It wasn't an open goal, but at the same time, a striker playing that. Well, he was playing obviously a deeper line midfielder role, but he should be burying that chance. Yeah. And then inevitably, as we all saw it coming after that chance, Airdrie go and score. Bad mistake from Stephen McGinn, who I thought didn't have a great game on Saturday. Didn't control the game the way he normally does, didn't affect the game the way he normally does. Like you say, Ross, couple of good chances. It was the one where he was blocked twice going through. It was probably tight end, but yeah, it was just a silly mistake to make and a silly area of the park to make it.
It was. And it's cost us, and it's not the first time that we've been lax. I'm trying. Who else was involved in the run-up? Somebody else. Was there somebody else as well, other than McGinn, that was potentially at fault? I can't remember. Again, I'll need to watch it back. But it just you knew it was coming, because we were making silly wee mistakes, and we weren't putting our chances away. You kind of felt a wee bit nervous that the one goal wasn't going to be enough, and true enough.
Yeah.
I think it's the exact same as like when we're going forward and missing these easy chances. That 90% of the goals we concede, you can just see it coming an absolute mile away. It's just a pass that's too soft or too firm, or it's so basic defending that lets us down every single week.
So frustrating. So 1-1 it goes into the last 10 minutes. Kai Kennedy offering a real bright spark throughout the match. Was always looking at our danger player down that left hand side. But then we had great ball. Was it McGinn that played the ball through for Allegria when he went through? Or I can't remember who was it. It was maybe McGuffey. I can't remember who played that ball through for Allegria. On in the keeper. I'm not too sure why he's shooting. Isn't shooting. Pushing the back. Blatant pushing the back. And yet again, another penalty turned down. And if you look at the highlights, it's 2 hands on the back. And Allegria goes down imbalanced. Or should he have been shooting? I don't know, but it's a penalty. It's a penalty every day of the week.
I think it is a penalty. One of the strongest that we've probably had. He probably should have shot, but by the by, it was a penalty. And it's an absolute joke that we're not getting our fair share of these. And I know they're not a gimme. You shouldn't be expecting them. But we've had at least 4 or 5 this season that in any other game, when you watch on TV, these are getting given.
Yeah.
The refs are so damn poor in this division, and they're not responsible for us not winning games. And I'm not saying that because that's old firm mentality, right? But we are not getting the average rub of the green with stuff like this.
The problem is, Ross, and this is the problem across the whole of Scottish football, is that since the introduction of VAR, they're using type 1, I think it's the top officials in the VAR room. So 10 are taken away from games. So it means there's a gap there in the Premiership. So they take the Championship referees up to the Premiership. League One referees getting used in the Championship. And it's this structure. So we're getting the brunt of that because we're getting worse officials. As in, most of the league is actually happening. That's happening across all the leagues because of the VAR coming in and because they're using these top flight officials in the VAR room. I mean, that shouldn't be the case because the World Cup's on just now and there's no Premiership. But I don't even know who the referee was. But it was a poor decision. He made some very poor decisions throughout the game. God knows what it's the first time I've noticed they've had headsets on as well. By the way, the linesman had a headset on. Honestly, he'd be as well doing an impression of Britney Spears for the amount he bloody used it because just useless again, man. Absolutely useless. You know, it's that certainly when you saw that foul on Burrow early on where it was two hands in the back and pushed. Linesman had this communication, didn't even say a thing. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, that seems to be a common theme. I don't know if it's just with us moving to the main stand and you can see the linesman's a lot clearer, but every decision that should go away on that near side, it's just like the linesman just makes no help. It's absolutely pointless, but it's every week again, as you say.
I know. And then Donaldson header at the end, good save from the keeper as well, and you know, another chance gone begging. Then Fairmont drop points and we drop points. What is going on, man? It's so frustrating. It really is. You look again, 13 shots. There are 8. In fairness, this is where you look at the stats and go, actually, Airdrie probably worth the draw. 55% to 45% possession, 13 to 8 shots, 3 to 2 on target, 5 each on the corner front. So on paper, it looks like a fairly even game. So Airdrie are maybe worth the draw, but certainly the better chances did fall to Falkirk, and it's just why we're
they probably were worth a point begrudgingly, John, but it shouldn't have got to that stage because we should have converted one, if not two, of the other chances that we had. And listen, I'll take an undeserved win almost every week if it means that we get the hell out of it.
That's what Dunfermline are doing. That's what Dunfermline are doing. So and that's the thing. We're not doing that. We're absolutely not doing that. So let's hear what John McGlynn, the manager, had to say.
John, the obvious question at a day where we had plenty of chances today, does it feel like a point gained or does it feel like almost a defeat today?
No, I can certainly say there's 2 points dropped, unfortunately. Yeah. I thought our performance was very good overall. I thought for the first 30 minutes in the game we were excellent. Very, very early in the game there's a penalty shout for us. Roman's I haven't seen it back, but it looks like the keeper's got a touch on him when he's went for the ball. I think it's just too early for the referee to do something about it. I think the referee's been caught. I've got a decision to make, a little bit, I'll be safe, I'll not make a controversial decision so early in the game. And actually they break up the park and create an opportunity. So you can see right from the start, the two teams, yourselves and Airdrie, very good football teams, very attacking minded. So the game was always going to be, a game where there was going to be moments happening. How it was one each, it could easily have been, a lot more. But then I thought after that period, I thought we controlled the first half and played some really good football, scored an excellent goal, and probably should have been further ahead. But a great goal, great ball by Cole, and a great touch and finish by Kai Kennedy. I know he's kind of saying that his touch probably go on his right foot because he's right-footed, but he actually went on his left, and it just shows you go and have a strike. It was a great strike on his weaker foot, but right in the top bin. So great goal. And then I thought the last 15 minutes of the first half, Airdrie kind of came back into it. They got a little bit of the ball without creating a lot, so quite comfortable. And I thought we started the second half really well also, and we've, as I say, I think Airdrie are a good side. Never ever going to go and lie down. They're going to keep at it. But we had opportunities, glaring chances to finish the game. And of course you don't take them and it comes back to bite you. We make one mistake in the game and we get punished for it, and that's unfortunately what we've been doing. We've been creating opportunities, not taking them, and then somehow or other we nowhere we kind of like, and I don't mean that disrespectful to Airdrie, because obviously they were in the game but they weren't creating a hell of a lot. They were, we have to be able to defend, that type of thing, which we were defending. However, we've lost the ball deep in our own half. Guy steps inside and the ball's kind of breaks, and lad Smith hits a shot that's kind of like hitting to the ground, and it manages to squeeze its way into the far post, and out of nowhere, it's you've dropped 2 points, and even at the end, Wan's through, great opportunity, Stevie McGinnis had opportunities, Romanis had opportunities, and obviously Gary Oliver's is the big one. So is Wan's a penalty? I'm hearing from you guys that the defenders put 2 hands on him and pushed him down, and I seen that happen in the game, and I seen the referee no giving us free kicks for that. So it's worked consistently against us, unfortunately. But what's a free kick? You give free kicks in other parts of this pitch for as much, if not more, a little, less than that. So that's where the consistency and decisions really do your head in. But we, kind of shoot ourselves in the foot by not killing them off, not by putting the ball in the back of the net when we should have done, and then, as I say, getting done with a kind of sucker punch, so to speak.
So Ross, what do you make of that, if that's the first time you've heard that?
I don't disagree with him. It's definitely, so it is 2 points dropped, as we've been saying. Obviously John feels like that as well. Sounds like he's trying not to say what we're all thinking about the refereeing performance, to be honest. But it is inconsistent. We're inconsistent with our play, but the refereeing, there's an argument they're not inconsistent, they're just consistently pish, because we don't get, and I don't mean just us, but the refereeing at this level is just an absolute joke.
Yeah. Jack, anything to add?
No, it's just the same. Yeah, he is just reiterating what we all think, and the refereeing is not up to standard. And how many players did you name there that had chances for us to win the game? There's 3 or 4 chances we had in the last 20 minutes, never mind the full 90, that should have put us out of sight easily.
Yeah. Well, let's get into view from the supporters on this one. Grant says, thought were decent but not great. Cracking goal from Kai, but couldn't kill them off when we had the chances to do so. Down to pure finishing. McGinn at fault for their goal, which was avoidable, and denied 2 clear penalties. And with them drawing, it's definitely 2 points dropped. Indeed.
Campbell says, played well in the first half, but need to score more when we're on top. 1-0 is never enough with this team. Totally agree with him. Good to see Mackie back at centre half, though. He should be starting there every week.
Yeah, I do think Mackie is probably, even if Henderson gets fit again, if it's a fractured rib, I don't know how quick that will be back from that. I think it's 2 or 3 weeks, McGlynn said on that. I think Sean Mackie is, if Colin, Sean can form a partnership there, I certainly wouldn't mind that going forward. You the man says, we're always shit the rest when Sconfermin drop points. We never take advantage. I reckon 3 out and 3 in come January. The goal we gave away was schoolboy defending, missed chance after chance, but that's Falkirk all over. Can't really disagree with that.
No, not really. Barry says, too many missed chances. Nesbitt is a shite bag who offers very little except backwards passes and running around like a headless chicken.
We've not talked about Aidan Nesbitt's performance on Saturday there. Aidan Nesbitt, right? Again, we've talked about the chicken steak debate. But Aidan Nesbitt, his touches and his finding of space is fantastic, right? There's no getting away from that. But what he doesn't do is influence a game. It's all very good, just getting touches, getting passes, looking about, and Aidan's great at that. His touches is phenomenal. Finding space, brilliant. His passing. He's probably up there as finding a man just about every time, but he doesn't influence the game the way he should do in the position that he's playing. Well, someone like Lawal comes off the bench and for me immediately makes that impact. When we've seen him start a game, he's made that impact. So I know Aiden seems to be one of the favourites, right? But you've got to look at that surely and go, right, well, this boy's having an influence on the game, unlike Aiden, in the way Aiden should do. So yes, I don't think, again, he just doesn't get his hand on the game, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, no, I agree entirely. There's obviously a footballer in him. He's played at such a high level before, and as you say, technically he's gifted. He is, but I don't know if it's due to like him and Oliver pairing together, kind of two more attacking midfielders, but it doesn't work, and none of them really seem to have any influence in the game going forward or helping out in the defence. I'd change it up 100%.
I think you're both absolutely spot on. I think it doesn't work. The formula that we've got in the middle of the park, I think we need like a dirty wee hard man in the middle of the park beside John McGinn, beside Stephen McGinn, and then that will allow some of the more creative players. But we're not there, as Barry says there. He doesn't get stuck in when you need him to get stuck in, and then when he does get stuck in, you can see the wee temper going, and he loses his rag, which we didn't need either. So the mix just doesn't feel right in the midfield. I don't think it has all season though.
Aye. Brian says, thought Morrison was a man down for most of the game. He never works hard enough out of possession. Nesbitt decision making was dreadful. Once again we draw because we don't make the correct decisions and play ourselves into trouble.
Indeed. Stuart says Oliver's miss is an absolute shocker that would have finished the game. Dunfermline's dropped 4 points since beating us, and yet the gap is still 7. Very frustrating.
That is frustrating when you hear it that way, isn't it? We could have been right up there and writing about it if the results had went for us. It's just. John says Airdrie pushed up in the second half, leaving room in behind, but when we take our pace off, it wasn't a game for Wan. I don't know. I thought Wan. I was calling for Wan to come on actually. You certainly saw he's got a burst and a change of pace as well. Wan, you saw that.
Yep.
Wasn't a game for Wan and McGuffey. Kennedy played well and scored a cracking goal. Lovely ball from Call as well.
I think the only thing I'd pull out of there is he said it's not a game for McGuffey. McGuffey was the wrong sub for Gary Oliver because you're just replacing one poor midfielder with another poor midfielder.
Yeah.
Stephen says every time Dunfermline slip, we can't capitalise. So many lacklustre shots. It's fucking brutal.
Yep. Angela says too many missed chances and can honestly say the second half progressed. Was worried we were going to lose the game. As the second half progressed, we were worried we were going to lose the game. Go again on Thursday, but not looking good for the league as we can't string a run of wins together. That's the truth of the matter. It's absolute truth of the matter.
Indeed.
Yeah. I think I said it last year when Cove won the league. There was something like 28 games unbeaten. We struggle to go 3 or 4 games unbeaten, and that just separates the Championship and League One, unfortunately for us. And we've learned it the hard way down here for sure.
Indeed. Last but not least, we'll go Bill. Just 2 words: Gary Oliver. Why?
That's 3 words, Ross.
Well, that's 3 words. It's been a long day, John. It's been a long day.
See, when you later on the show, when I wait, you do these calculations on the step finance. I'm worried for this. Right? Okay. Your numbers have been all over the place today.
Well, listen. Remember, I'm a banker. I'll just make stuff up as I go.
That's the worrying thing as well. You deal with mortgages. Jesus Christ! I'll put an extra 0 on that.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Right. Okay. Falkirk Daft rated. Who are we going for this week? Jack, start with you.
I don't know, honestly.
Rated. Yeah, this is the good player, Jack. This is the good player.
Yeah, I mean,
that's going on this week.
Yeah, I honestly struggle to rate any of them. I really do. I'd say McCann again, but I mean,
Ross, who are you going for?
There was no. I can understand what Jack's saying. There was no huge standouts, but I'm going to go with Kennedy for the goal. Yeah. His Van Basten-esque finish was.
Stop with this Van Basten. It's nothing like Van Basten. It's not even our best goal. Kai Kennedy, I thought he was a nuisance to Airdrie throughout down that left hand side, and great goal from him. So yeah, Kai Kennedy's the only answer for me on that one. Right, Falkirk Daft. He's going to be a bit harder to choose. Who's your nomination, Jack?
There's too many of them again, I mean, I could just pick Oliver for his miss out of spite, but yeah, I think over the 90 minutes, McGinn was just totally off the pace. So,
Ross,
3 words, John. Gary Oliver. I know. Do you see what I did there?
I
know.
see what you did there.
Gary Oliver for me has to be Gary Oliver.
Oh, do you know what? I'm just going to Ed in this, but why not? Why not?
Not long hair. Why not?
The midfield. We'll go for absolute dafties this week. I think no control over the game. Aye, well, there you go. Airdrie's out the way. On to another one, for God's sake. Jack, thanks very much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Cheers for having me. Thank you.
We'll see you back at the stadium soon. And just a reminder, if you want to be like Jack and be a pundit, come on the show, drop us a DM on Twitter, Facebook, or email us, falkirkdaftpod@gmail.com.
This is Falkirk Daft.
The big question the last couple of weeks is the World Cup of Falkirk jerseys, which isn't really a World Cup, but the World Cup's on, so we've found a tenuous link there by putting Falkirk strips up against each other. And we're into the quarter-final stages. One of us forgot to put it up until the last minute, so all four of them went up on Saturday for you to vote on. So quarter-final one, Ross, was, of course, the 91-94 away shirt against the 96-97 away shirt, the 91-94 away shirt. One of the favourites, the Bees are home, white Hummel with the red down the side. And it was up against the one that got us to the cup final, Ross, the Square Deal Motors, the red with the blue pinstripes, and with 68.9% and through to the semi-finals, of course, it was the Bees are Home's white Hummel top.
Indeed, it did.
What's happening in quarter-final two?
Quarter-final two was the 2015-2016 home shirt, which is the Central Demolition gold badges, pretty lovely, cool. And that was up against the 1990-1991 white Beezer Homes away strip. And do you know this one was? I know this is one. You're the Spall Beezer Homes is one of your favourite tops. It's one of my favourites, and I thought this might have been tighter, but unfortunately not. So the 2015-16 with a massive 65.6% of the vote took that one and is safely into the semis.
And I think there's no surprise, and there's been no shocks really in this round of the World Cup of really. Tops. It was the 91-94 home shirt, Beezer Homes, the classic Stainrod, the classic McAllister, blue, red. We all know what we're talking about, and that went up. It was John Arweir Zara top from 1990-2000 season. And it was an absolute doing. It was 85.9% to 14.1% on the vote in that one. And the 91-94, the tournament favourite, through to the semi-finals.
Indeed. And then last but not least, we had the 2015-16 white away shirt with the gold again.
Tie, wasn't it?
Cup final versus the yellow match winner, Beezer Homes. And this was tight. This was pretty neck and neck. However, the 1994-95 away shirt has pipped it with 57.6% and makes up the final four shirts in the semis, which we can now do the draw for.
We can, and it's 3 Beezer home tops in there versus 1 Central Demolition top in the semis. Right, Ross, are you ready to do the draw?
Well, I got feedback last week for the draw. I got feedback that they think it was fixed, and it wasn't fixed at all. So, John, can you quickly get up your Ukrainian girls website here?
The random number generator.
The random number generator.
Right, okay.
And how we're going to do it is we're going to do obviously 1 to 4 in that order. So you'll have the white Hummel will be number 1, the navy and gold home top from 2015 will be number 2, the blue Hummel will be number 3. And the yellow match winner is going to be number 4. So this is completely random. It's all in the hands of the Ukrainian girls and your good self.
Actually, the Ukrainian girls aren't coming up today. It's now an advert for
Ukrainian men.
Organic. Boost your energy, focus the mind. God knows what I've been Googling recently. Right, okay. The draw. So 1 to 4. Okay, tell me when to stop, Ross. Right, okay, 1 to 4. Right, okay, the first one coming out, Ross.
And stop.
Number 3.
So number 3 was the... Actually, because you shared the screen, I can't remember what it was. Oh, no, that was the blue Hummel. It was number 3.
Right, okay, next one out is...
Stop.
Number 1.
It's up against the white Hummel.
So, Oh,
See?
wow. That is Battle of the Basin. So that means the other tie is...
Yep, that means we have the 2015 home top against the yellow match winner.
Oh, there we go. It's going to be someone very disappointed. That is going to be some game there, the home versus the away.
So we'll put that out on Tuesday for the first semi, and then I will remember this week. And the second semi can go out on Thursday, which is the match day.
I think you should. I think you leave leave the one, like, build it up to the big game.
That's true.
So put the big game out, so the home and away Beezers against each other. It's the Yellow Beezer versus the Central Demolition one. So that's it. So we'll get on the Twitter, vote for that, and we'll have the final decided on this show next week.
This is Falkirk Daft.
Right, next game, it's Thursday. It's in the Challenge Cup, which is now officially called the Challenge Cup. It's back to the Challenge Cup. It's not the Petrofac Cup. It's not the Trust Trophy. It's not, and it's back to the Challenge Cup. And we are in the draw, and we're playing Dundee this Thursday at this stadium. And it is on BBC Alba. So for everyone wanting to see the game in Gaelic, you can watch it on the telly. Right, so Dundee... We've played them already this season. Again, you want to change the teams. We've played Dundee already this season, and we've got Dundee again.
Yeah, it's not the best draw, if I'm being honest, John.
No, I know, but we'll take them. What are you thinking the chances are in this game, Ross?
I don't know. I think it's going to be tough, mate. Obviously, Airdrie ran them close in the cup last Saturday, didn't they? It was 2 weeks, and then obviously
and then got cuffed 6-2.
I know they ended up getting pumped, but I don't know. I think we if we keep it tight, which is a big ask, I suppose, but because they've got some decent forwards.
Yeah.
If we can keep it tight, then you never know. But if I'm being honest, if I'm being realistic, I don't know if I do fancy our chances too much on Thursday night. I think if they were maybe making a few changes as well, I admit, like when we played Partick, Dundee, Partick made quite a number of changes, which definitely gave as a far stronger chance. But this Dundee don't have another game. This is a time where obviously there's no game on the weekend, so it's, even though it's a midweek game, there's probably a big chance that Dundee will just remain as is. So I think it'll be tough. I think if we can keep it tight, though, you never know.
Yeah, they've won their last 5 matches, including Scottish Cup win there against Airdrie as well.
So that's pretty good form in that division, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a couple of experiences we've talked about before. Zach Rudden in the mix there. They seem to be getting goals from all over the place as well. Alec Jakubiak as well, playing for Dundee. They've both, Jakubiak and Rudden, 4 goals apiece. But their main man seems to be Paul McMullen, who's playing really, really well for them. 5 goals, 7 assists this season for him. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one. It's winnable, I think. It depends what Falkirk turn up and depending what mistakes we make in midfield. I'm just trying to find odds for the match, and I can't find odds anywhere. I'm down beyond the Lowland League to find odds on this match on Bet365. So I don't know what the market is for a Falkirk win.
No idea.
Yeah, it's a tough game, but live on the telly, under the floodlights, you never know.
You never know, John. You never know. Hopefully.
What changes are you making?
I would be bringing a while back in for a start. I actually think this could be a game for maybe somebody like Hetherington in beside McGinn. Try and win a few of these midfield battles. Either that or maybe...
McGinn, Wow in front of them.
Yeah.
You drop Nesbitt out then?
He probably won't, though, will he? That's the
Morrison,
thing.
Allegria?
He probably won't. I think Allegria will start.
Yeah.
I think Allegria will start. Will Ryan Williamson be back off his parental leave? I've no idea whether he'll be back in or not. That must be the quickest parental leave ever. The wee baby was born on the Thursday and he had already used his first of 5 parental days by the Saturday. So... so who knows whether he's going to be back in or not. It's going to be tough, John. I think the keeper will probably change because did we not play Paddy Martin, but then PJ's back fit again, so maybe you never know, maybe PJ might get a run out.
Yeah, but we'll wait and see what happens. But anyway, You know, we get through the next. It's a free hit, really, isn't it?
It would be nice to get through, and I know everybody's a massive fan of this tournament, but we've won it the most amount of times at any football club, and I'd love to win it for a fifth time. If you're in the competition, you want to try and get it.
It continues. The campaign for 5 continues.
Yeah, we're going for 5. Not 55. We're going for 5. Yes.
This is Falkirk Daft.
And that is it for this week's Falkirk Daft. Thank you very much for listening. We're going to get up the road. Dundee, we don't know. That's next, and then it's back to the league. A little cup of sides. Forget about the league for at least a week, which is good to know. We'll be back on Falkirk Daft Hour to talk about that game next Monday. Get us on any of your podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify. And remember, if you have got Falkirk Daft as your number one Spotify and rap, we'd love to see that. So give us a picture of that. Get us a wee screen grab. Remember, merch is available. You can get the Falkirk Daft logo, or you can get the Highlander with the Falkirk Daft. Now you can get all your merch for Christmas, because it's a wee bit different. What we're offering is a wee bit different. And remember, 100% of the profits go back into the club. So get that if you can. Tap us up at shop.spreadshirt.co.uk/Falkirk-Daft. The links are below. So hit up for any last minute Christmas presents or Christmas presents you want to get. We'll get them delivered and out to you for the big day. YouTube. Subscribe, like and subscribe, guys. We might be doing an unboxing video. I mean, we could do that at Christmas time, Ross. You could do an unboxing video.
Yeah, we could do.
What Falkirk strip am I getting today? Woo! So yeah, get on that, and you can join our Discord channel for all the chat there. That's all the selling done. And thanks again very much to our sponsors this week. That is Donahue and Company. Thank you very much. And remember, get your self-assessment done, and these are the guys to do it. It's fast approaching. Get your personal tax return into Donahue and Company. They will sort it out for you. Speak to Alan over there. He's going to get all your accountancy services, limited company accounts, tax, payroll, VAT and bookkeeping sorted for you. Get in touch with Alan, 01324 411 809, 01324 411 809, Alan at donahue-co.com, or get him on the website donahue-co.com. All the links again are below, so you can get them all there. Right, I think that's all the business done. Thanks very much for listening to Falkirk Daft and what's been a very frustrating show. Ross, have you done your calculations on the amount of money we're going to get from these steps?
No, not yet, John, but I had
I'll give you a week.
I had a quick look. There's 6 stairwells. Right. And I think it looks about 50 steps on each one.
Right,
so
let's do the maths on this, Ross. Let's 6 times 50. Come on, you're a banker.
Listen, no, I want to be John. I want to be accurate, son.
Right,
I want to be accurate. If
Ross,
we're talking about how
much money we're making on the steps, because this is what bankers do. Take a week to do one simple fucking sum. Right, okay. Right, we're up the road. Thank you very much for listening. And what do we leave? As usual,
expect the unexpected, buddy.
I wish we could expect a win.
That would be nice.